There's more hearings coming up, isn't there? The 10th. There's another hearing for Julian. What do you expect from this? Just more of the same. That's what I expect. More of the British judicial system just screwing him at every turn. I did a tweet the other day that saying to people, if you think you have human rights, or you think you have a right to free speech, or you think you have a right to a free press, or you think you have a right to human rights,
Yes.
you don't, because they've just proved, the British government have just proven, they can take them away like that. And if they can take
Yes.
them away,
I
you
mean,
haven't got them in the first place, have you?
we should be looking at we should be looking at all sorts of things right now. We should be looking at the extradition treaty between the UK and the US, which has been condemned, is so weak. I mean, they can just literally ask for someone, whereas we can't. We've got to have evidence. We've got to. It's basically in subservience to the US. That's what's going on, and it looks now like our courts are at risk of being subservient to US justice system. So there's discredited. I mean, the UK courts are now discredited. Where's the sovereignty? Where are we protecting our own interests? Why are we
Yeah.
using our courts to serve the interests of the US? But we aren't kind of. But you can see the kind of crimes that our government are involved in, and the horrible conflicts that they're benefiting from around the world. Yemen,
Hmm.
the arms to Israel. They don't want, backing jihadists in Syria, backing jihadists in Libya. They don't want someone exposing what they're doing. So,
No, of
you know,
course not. And we're in what they're calling. I mean, the BBC slipped up once. A BBC anchor slipped up once when she was interviewing, I think, a vice admiral or a former vice admiral, and she said, "We're in this kind of information war at the moment with Russia." And it's like, yeah, you're no crap, and their information is the truth by the look of it, and yours is the propaganda.
yeah. Well, actually, I was just going to say one other thing. Within a few days of Julian's arrest, or it might even been the same week, but the dates are very, very close.
Hmm.
The government released the white paper for online harms. I don't know if people are aware of just how important that is as well, and
Right.
that's likely to lead to further censorship. Basically, online harms is a child protection document. If you look at it, it's about 102 pages long. I haven't read all of it, but if you skim through, it's all about protecting children, which is fine. Everyone wants to protect children. But if you look right in the middle, it's about page 70. There's one page and a few lines of disinformation clause. Now, that is what it's all about, really. It's about disinformation. It doesn't belong in a child protection document. Disinformation. I'm a
Hmm.
grown up. I have intellectual integrity. I can decide what's disinformation and what isn't. I don't need the government to tell me what's the truth. I know when I'm being lied to, and it's very worrying that this is going to be now, you know, sneakily sort of buried into this white paper, which when it will turn into an act, um, could mean that there will be censorship, and it
Yeah.
probably will lead to censoring. You know, I mean, the Jeremy Hunt's pretty much on a daily basis now telling us that Russia is a great source of
Yeah.
disinformation. He did it yesterday. And what's the implication of this? They're going to bring all these restrictions and punishments for anybody who puts anything out online. They decide is disinformation.
Yeah.
That has huge implications for freedom.
Of
Freedom.
course it does. Of course it does, and it's
Yeah.
something that I'm extremely worried about, especially in the business I'm in, which is obviously online, because I'm saying things, and I have people on like yourself that say truth that is inconvenient for the government, and obviously they want that shut down. And my channel's getting more and more popular, and channels like mine are, because more and more people are turning away from the news, and people are turning away from the mainstream, and the reason is the disinformation that they put out, and the fact that they use, I mean, I've seen them use fairness and balance in a way to actually, to totally confuse a situation when all you really need to do is just be objective and tell people that's what's happening. You don't need to say, oh, one side says this and one side says the other and you find out. No, you just have to say this is what's happened and they say this and they say that. That's what a reporter is, isn't it? And they're not doing that. And this is obviously going to be used more and more to squash the voices like mine that are obviously telling truth and telling things in a way that our media aren't. Now, I rail on the media all the time because I do think it's been co-opted now, and the media and the government in this country are pretty much one and the same, don't you?
Yeah, and I was just thinking, I don't know if you follow Marcus Papadopoulos.
I don't know.
No,
That's not a name I know.
but he's quite courageous. That he sort of calls out the government when they lie.
Okay.
And he uses this phrase that the media are foot soldiers of government, foot soldiers of the establishment, and they really are. I mean, I think that's such a good way to look at them. They're totally compromised. And what's the future for media? What's the future for journalism? It's not looking good at the moment because we've got mainstream media that have an agenda. They're not about telling the truth. They're anti-journalism, as John Pilger says, and then we've got people who do want to tell the truth, like Julian Assange, are being, they're trying to stifle them and silence them. So it's not looking, at the moment, it's not looking, it's a fight, isn't it? It's really a fight, and it's about civil rights as well. It's not just about the media, it's freedom of expression.
This is why this is so important, and it's why I get so angry with the media for not actually presenting this information in the right way to the public, because I do think if they had presented this information in the right way to the public, they would be absolutely outraged at the moment, because everything that you said there with regard to rights, they are all at risk here. Even the civil rights, we don't have them if they can just take them away, and they are here. They're not even. He's not even got a right to a free trial, not right to a fair trial here. That's obvious. He's just got almost a maximum sentence for bail jumping, when it's obvious that the reason he sought asylum was because that this was a witch hunt used by the Americans and the UK forces in conjunction with Sweden. He can see that. He's been proved right all along. And he's still got almost a maximum sentence, despite the fact that he's been arbitrarily detained for 7 years. And he's not jumped bail before. He's not a serial bail jumper or anything like that, is he? But they slapped the maximum sentence of 50 weeks on him. Now, how in the world can they say that that is a fair trial?
Well, I mean, it is what, like you've just said, I mean, it's human rights, it's civil rights. These are all under attack, and they're being attacked through journalism. I mean, the thing is the charges that the US are bringing against him. The point that a lot of people are making is actually it attacks the American Constitution, which is built on civil rights, the fight for civil rights. Yep. But in the first Article 1 or Amendment 1.
Yeah, First Amendment.
Yeah, that protects freedom of the press. It's actually in there. And if they do this, that's the destruction of all the rights, years and years of achievements of civil rights. For freedom of speech and freedom of the press. There is no freedom of the press then.
No, of course not. And you say there about this clause coming on for online harms white paper. Now, obviously, this is not going to apply to MSNBC, is it? For instance, they're not going to say, oh no, we've got to sanction Rachel Maddow on MSNBC because she's pushed a fact-free conspiracy theory for 3 years and was talking about the power in Fargo going poof by the Russians. That is worse to me than Alex Jones, because people listen to Alex Jones, and most people listen to him and think, okay, he's a bit of a crazy man, but he's damn entertaining. Most people listen to Rachel Maddow and they believe what she's saying. To me, that's even more dangerous, don't you think?
I think she's what I've seen of her. She's an actress. It's
Absolutely right. I have a joke.
fabrication.
One of my few jokes. It is. I
Yeah,
like Rachel Maddow. She's a good actress
yeah. In
because
fact,
that's exactly what she is. Good point.
it's reminded me. Patrick Henningsen, he recently sort of suggested that actually media is now the new entertainment. It's like the new Hollywood. So you've got people like Rachel Maddow, Mad Cow, he calls her. Um, you know, entertaining. So people are switching on for this entertainment from truth tellers. I don't think so. That's, you know, this isn't telling the truth. This is fabricating stories, isn't it, to entertain people and keep your ratings up. And it's moving further and further from the truth.
If you like this video and you want to see more, please subscribe and click the bell below so you get a notification of when I drop further videos. If you click the links on the screen as well through to my website, you can find out ways to support me. I can't do this without your help, and I really do appreciate it. Thanks very much for all your support, and until next time, peace and take care.